Hello, my name is Nelsonator. I'm here with my friend,
I'm Parish Torch.
and this is Mega Man Battle Network 6, Cybeast Gregar. Last time, we were sort of introduced to the game and the setting, and one of the fun things I just noticed is that, like, when you go to sleep, I expected it to just put you straight into the cutscene after, saving for it. But no, it puts you back to right before you went to bed. So,
Yeah, it's very interesting that you can choose when you reload the game to not go to bed if you remember one last thing you had to do.
one last thing. Yep. The game also starts as normal. Lan has a bad habit of sleeping in the morning, and Mega Man needs to wake him up. This game brings it back just at the beginning here, like, hey, this is still the game you remember. But yeah, otherwise, I don't think there's a problem with Lan waking up in the morning. Also, I can't believe he's going to school before his dad has to go to work, you know?
Yeah. Although they do bring it up later on in the game, so this isn't the only time we'll see him oversleeping.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose not. So yeah, we gotta get to school. Hey, whippersnapper, hurry or you'll be late. Oh, dang. Well, I'm gonna be late to
As
school.
in RPGs, unless there is a clock counting down in the corner of the screen, you have infinite
Yeah.
time to do anything.
Yep. And I wanted to go around and see, hey, is there anyone else? I think, maybe I can read that gold plaque on the door. Nope. That's why I'm just scooting forward, scooting forward. Couldn't read it. Also, remember when school did this to us?
Oh man.
Yeah, I can't believe, like, when the security bots came and apprehended us for not showing up with our school IDs.
Oh man, those were the days.
Yeah. So, like, I can't believe that they have security bots to, deal with unruly students or other intruders here. And
Having some sort of liaison officer or campus security, whatever you want to call it, makes sense. But I do think it's very funny that immediately they say, you don't have a student ID, therefore you are an intruder, you are under arrest.
yeah, and the funny thing is, like, through that little window with the phone right there, there's an attendant right there to do this job. They have hired a person to do this job that they have, brought in a machine to remove it. But also, like, this is Lan's new teacher just sort of, playing jokes on him. Which, this seems to be a scary joke to do to any students, right? What happens when a first grader shows up and they get accosted by robots bigger than them?
Well, I don't think the whole thing is a joke. I think he only realized halfway through the scenario that he probably should call off the dogs, figuratively speaking.
Maybe. Perhaps. We'll find out for sure when we can actually meet Mr. Mock. I need a student ID to get through, and yep, I sure can't get through.
I absolutely made that mistake the first time I played here because even though they showed the door opening, he said keep to the right, so I immediately tried to go through on the right side through the turnstile.
Through the window, we can see the old man making tea. Yeah, it's funny how, like, oh yeah, keep to the right. Where? That red part over there? Alright, well, it doesn't work. Although I guess I'm glad that they actually show you this opening up here to go through. So yeah, are you Mr. Mock? You might be Mr. Mock. You're at a teacher's test. I wonder who Mr. Mock could be. Got some old yearbooks here. They've just got a bunch of computers in the corner. Okay, I have been a teacher's assistant, but, like, I've never been a professor itself. Is this how, it looks inside?
It depends on the teacher's lounge.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like this, sometimes they're not.
We
I
got a
can't
big
say for
computer.
being a teacher or a professor myself, but I've certainly had parents who work in education, have
Yeah.
seen my fair share.
Yeah, I was a TA in college, so, I didn't know if that was just our lab that we did research in or what. Also, hey, are you Mr. Mock? Are you Mr. Mock? Well, I guess not. Well, there's only one guy left.
Looking around, checking all the doors and cabinets and things, because sometimes later on in the game, you'll have to figure those things out. And so if you've already been exploring every corner and you know where the, for example, staircase to the second floor is, then you're already one leg up on having to figure out where to go in a crisis.
Yep. I also do that just to sort of show off what's going on. There will be HP memories and reg ups hidden throughout the environment, so sometimes you need to go around and check them. I like how they have the, like, floor 1, or this is like the first grader's floor, and eventually we're going to go up to 6-1, which is, 6th grader area. Also, they've got so many cameras here.
Mm-hmm.
And look at this guy. Man. Have you ever been punished like that, where you gotta stand with a bucket on your head?
No, certainly not in that specific way.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we were good boys who didn't get punished much, but, at the same time, it seems a bit much.
I also think it's very great, as you pointed out, that you can check things in the real world, and sometimes you'll get items that'll, augment Mega Man or make it easier for you in the future.
Yeah.
But, yeah, even though it doesn't happen quite as often, it is still very interesting to check things in the real world and get a note about, oh, something fell out of it. You got a bit of code for Mega Man.
Yep.
I'm just wondering, in what format is this? Is this just like a micro SD card that you just plug in and download?
Lan must have, like, so many SD card slots in his pet for all the HP memories, He's got, like, 50 of them just plugged in. He's like, oh, man, where can I find more space for this?
All he needs to do is just download some more RAM.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, that's probably how it works in this universe.
That's essentially what buying HP memories is. I'm just putting together.
Yeah.
You're basically paying someone to download more RAM for Mega Man.
It sure. Yeah, that might be how it works. Also, this kid's like 10 or 12. How did he get that scar already? Like, he's got the one on his cheek, and it seems like he's kind of got one behind his bangs there on top of his nose, too. Like, what did this kid do?
Yeah, you're trying to set him up as, the tough guy,
I
the
roll.
badass of the class, but they're 6th graders?
Yeah.
It's a very weird trope to lean into.
Yep. I also like how they took some time to try and get a bunch of different students for Lan's class here, so it's not like a whole bunch of duplicates. It's just like, okay, that girl's here twice, and there might be another boy who's here twice, but some of these kids stand out a little bit than the others. Mick's one of them. Who else could it be?
Mm-hmm.
And now we get to say hello.
Yeah, as with a lot of other RPGs here, there are your 4 or 5 quote main characters that you can tell right away, just like the classroom that you left back home. But
Yep.
It is interesting how even though you're only with these characters for one game, they still do a pretty good job of introducing them or getting to meet them,
Yep.
as well as occasionally connecting back to your old friends in AC/DC Town.
Yep. Yeah, Mick up there is showing himself to be exactly that sort of stereotypical kid there. We've got somebody else saying, oh yeah, he's really nice once you get to know him, but he is just putting on this facade so hard. He's really trying to not be friends with us, and I have no idea why.
Speaking of no idea why, I feel like in previous games, when you inspected the things on the wall, they specifically mentioned that it was calligraphy, and
Yep.
mentioned, there we go, there's our first reg up.
Yep, hidden in that. No idea what it is, but it's hanging from the wall, and it's got some tech in it.
But they specifically mentioned one of your friends, Yai, as having the best calligraphy of the entire class, naturally.
Right.
Something to that effect.
8-year-old
But in
super genius.
Right. But in this game, when you go to inspect the obvious kanji calligraphy on the wall, they say, oh, those are art projects.
Yeah, that's art. Well, there's a couple of things that have been changed for this game that were different from previous games, and we're going to see that a little bit coming up with some of the Link navies, like Spout Man and Erase Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this isn't quite, 4Kids level of localization where they rename all of the onigiri as jelly donuts, but
Yep.
there are some weird localization choices here and there.
Yeah, it's a much better localization than we got for, say, Battle Network 4 or Battle Network 1, the first game, because in the first game there's a point where there's like some lady hanging out and it's like, hey, can you see the big old dam over there? And you can say no, and she's like, are you sure? Like, letter R, letter U. Are you sure? And then if you say yes to her, she asks again, do you know what that is? And you can be like, no, and she's like, look again. Like, it's great. Also, I love this navi's here. So who's got the guts to give these a go? And you can tell which one is Mick's Navi. and you can just immediately hear him with, like, a nasally villain voice. Nah, what I was going to say is, why don't we let these new guys show us what they can do? Yeah. Like, he's just Waluigi in my head. Like, a very strong voice attached to just how he speaks. It's really good. You can also see, like, yeah, here's sort of the generic normal Navis here. The pink one's for girls, the green one's for boys, and there's that sort of nerd Navi over there, that blue one, that belonged to the kid with glasses. Wonder if he's going to be important. I also like how Mick is, like, technically savvy enough to be able to mess with this thing that generates viruses, but, like, otherwise, like, when did he have time to do this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a very interesting thing that, you know, you see in a lot of media. Just this person who is not a super genius in school, you know, they're never specifically touted as having amazing hacking skills, and yet because the plot calls for them to mess with the hero, they can pull off these amazing feats.
Amazing feats.
Yeah.
The way I like to picture it is that Mick has gotten himself really good at just kind of causing trouble, and this is one of the ways he learned how to cause trouble. I wonder if he did this to, like, any of the other kids in the class here.
I mean, there are definitely some other moments where, I don't think Mick specifically, but I think other characters in the series mess with things just by, you know, smashing them or intentionally messing with the settings or with the net code inside whatever language they use.
Yeah.
I think this is the first time where we see something to that specific of an effect from a child just trying to mess with someone, where he was able to modify it to specifically dispense a much tougher virus than a Metar.
Because the old stoves have 80 HP compared to the 40 that Metars have, and on top of that, they have a fire attack. Like, the Metar stuff is completely, like, non-elemental, so it doesn't cause any problems. Oh yeah, by the way, you can run from battles. I try to do it here because my starting hand is awful, but, battle doesn't want to let me go, so I fight this one out.
Man, charging up and using the Buster is so painful before you get the customization.
Yeah, it's really slow at level 1. Take care of the Metar first, because it's a lot easier. One of the other... I had a thought that I lost it as I was just staring at myself going so slowly in the battle there, and I'm like, come on, I can do better than this, right?
Even your thought process is slow to a crawl.
Yes, it certainly has. One of the other things I noticed about Mixed Navi is its eyes are different from everyone else's. Way back in the first 2 games, the bad Navi looked like all the other ones, but it was colored purple, and its eyes were triangles instead of the like standard circle that these regular dudes have. Also, battles go much quicker once you have full synchro to just kind of chew through them, right? Look at that. But, yeah, so instead of those circles, they had triangle eyes, and Mixed Navi has, like, the slants instead. So what I'd like to imagine is, like, his dad just handed him, like, one of these evil Navis at the beginning, and it's just like, alright, I'm gonna upgrade to the next generation, give it my own special color, and we're good. I also like how they're yelling about the Navi's bad, can't operate or anything, but, like, you know, you weren't directly competing against Mega Man and Land here. Also, uh-oh. Who's here? Who's ready to wish upon a genie? Who's been given the monkey's paw? Do you seek the power?
Very coincidental timing, right after his old Navi leaves and his pet is empty.
Yep.
Another Navi just slides right in.
Yep, Blastman is here. I really like how his head looks. Like, it looks like it's something that sort of, like, articulates up out of his chest here and can pop back down in there. Also, this is a dick move to do to kids. Like, he's very good at just psychologically manipulating children. And Mick is way too happy to go along with it. Also... yeah. What does he mean by crush? You know? Like, Mick's just hearing that, he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna mess with him, we're gonna make him squirm, and then, oh no. Also, hey, didn't we see that thing earlier? So yeah, they're describing copy bots here. One of the things I kind of like about it is if you look real close, you can see a single blinking pixel in its center heart there. Like, I'd like to imagine that's a display before the Navi sort of takes control over it, where it's like a battery indicator, just like, oh yeah, we got full battery, we're good to go.
There are copy bots that you can run across later that you can't jack your Navi into, so it'll be interesting when we see those to notice if that blinking battery indicator pixel is there.
It's probably still going to be there.
Most likely. Why would they make a second model for that?
Right. It's just a cool bit of tech, and we just have to figure out what the tech means, you know? So here we go. Land and Mega Man get to meet face to face.
For the second time.
For the second time. The first time was not a happy occasion, and Land had nightmares leading up to it, foreshadowing that was going to happen. But here, nah, it's just a wacky comedy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first time it happened, Land managed to somehow send his soul into the net because... is it going to come up later in the game, or should we go ahead and cover it now because it was in a previous title?
So, the end of Battle Network 3 had people going into cyberspace to be with their navies, and, like, all of the villains came back to do it, and then, well, we gotta go fight the final boss. We gotta go do it, so they both hop into the cyber world, fuse together, just like all of the evil guys did to go forward. But, yeah, Land and Mega Man have a very special connection that's just sort of understated, assumed you know to this point, and it's going to come up in a very, like, pivotal plot point later on, so we'll discuss it then. But, yeah, like, Land and Mega Man are very special. They've got a high level of synchronicity compared to everyone else, and, yeah. It's oh, you first.
It's interesting that they specifically go with the copybot technology. Let's bring Navis into the real world, even though we've already demonstrated we can send people into the net or into cyberspace, Tron style.
Yeah.
But that technology really doesn't go anywhere after that game.
Yeah, but I guess it's because of how the bad guys misused it, but here, well, I mean, we've got the security bot. The security bots are here to cause problems, but the copy bots have been sort of restricted. You can't load battle chips and weapons into them, so, like, unless your Navi has, I don't know, a big old sword on their arm, they can't do anything in the real world aside from just, like, pushing people around, you know? Also, wow, 5 of these security bots were going to apprehend Land, but they can take out an adult? So, had they never had viruses get into the security bots before? Like,
yeah, this is one thing that you would think they would start to notice by the 6th title in this series, is that maybe making everything in the world technological and connected to one big overarching net, when there's this many problems with either viruses or evil navies, there may be some things that we should keep offline for security reasons.
Yep. And then you look at real life, where even your toilet can be connected to the internet, and we have reached, like, the Mega Man Battle Network cartoon future theorized in this game.
Yeah, extremely prescient, around the time that social media was just basically starting to be a concept, essentially.
Yeah, because Facebook started in, 2006 or something, and this game came out in the fall of 2006 in Japan. So, yeah, they didn't really know what they were getting themselves into, but yeah. So we can talk to Land, we can go back if we want to do it. Nobody reacts to Mega Man, unfortunately, but, he can walk right up to these things. No human could handle the heat. Well, good thing I'm not a human, and I can wander the halls. So they're doing fire, right? And as we know from Pokemon, water is good at stopping it. So let's go to the sink. Oh no, the water's broken! It was working fine earlier today. Well, if we can't get it from the faucets, where can we get water from? I also like how the security bots change between floors here. Also, this guy in the bucket just comes back here, like, hey kid, I need your bucket of water. Alright man, whatever. Have fun.
I'm honestly impressed that he's still out there standing with the bucket on his head after there's a fire alarm and the security robots have been crazy.
Yeah, like, 10 security bots have gone right past him, and he's just like, alright, I'm just gonna stay here.
His teacher must be really intimidating.
Really intimidating. And one of the things I do is, like, I go into, like, the extra classrooms on my way over there, I think. So we can see what some of the teachers have done to, like, protect their students and such, you know? But yeah, Oh, you
I
first.
know that Mega Man was about to comment on the copybot almost being out of power. Did they ever mention what happens if you're still inside of a copybot when it runs out of power?
I don't think so. Huh.
Yeah, there are many times where they seem to be making a big deal out of it. Like, oh no, I'm almost out of power. Quick, I have to transfer. But I don't really know what the consequence is if he doesn't make it in time. Does the system just power down and then something bad happens to Mega Man because he didn't save before exiting?
Yeah, well, hopefully there's, like, a battery backup that just, like, keeps the lights on in the background.
Right. If you were just, quote-unquote, trapped inside the copybot in a low-power state, and before you could move the limbs again, you had to power it back up, it would be frustrating and a hassle, certainly. But, yeah, they really don't establish what exactly happens, to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah.
Unless we missed it we were talking over Mr. Mock's cutscene.
Nah, he doesn't talk about there. Also, I like how I went to, like, 1-2, and I was like, hey, what happened in 6-2? And I walk back there, the guy's just like, wait, something happened? Weird. Like, dude, where's everyone else? Where's your teacher? What are you doing? And then this teacher's like, yeah, I got all my students out. I did good. Like, man, the level of competence in display here is amazing. Can I leave? Nope, it's locked. What about you, Mr. T-Man? Are you doing anything? Nope, he's still making his tea.
I mean, it's a very long, ritual that some people go through.
Yeah.
Good quality. Can't rush quality.
Yeah. Like, he's gonna be done with it after, like, 7.5 hours, so he's gonna start sipping his tea, like, as everyone leaves. And then we see Mick over here. He's actually started an arson thing. The teachers are gonna get broiled by the flames.
Yeah. Just now starting to realize that, a Navi who only talks about crush them and make them pay, probably, I should have put some reasonable limits on this.
Yeah. Like, you don't... When you make the wish upon the Djinn chooses how it happens. The monkey's paw curls. You don't have a choice once things get started. Oops. Well. Also, where's the fire extinguishers? Like, those should be mounted to every wall in every room. There should be one in here, but nope. Just another way that this is not the best future that could have happened to mankind. But yeah, next video we're gonna go through Blastman's dungeon here, but it's got a couple interesting gimmicks here.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the dungeon mechanics at play.
Yep. So, thank you for dropping by to watch this episode of Let's Play Mega Man Battle Network 6 Gregar. I hope you all have a nice day.
See ya!